Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Today on The Young and the Restless, Sharon dreams of Daniel dying, Nick and Maria worry about Sharon, and Adam runs into a distraught Faith. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At Society, Tessa greets Maria with a hug and asks her and Nick, "What's going on?" Maria tells her wife that Sharon told them she was gone to Madison for business for Cassidy first, but she was lying. She went to check on her, and she wasn't there. She explains that she called her and Sharon said she needed time away from her life and from them hovering over her to heal. Maria's learned she's not in Sedona. Nick sighs. They have no idea where she actually is. Florence Pugh took acting break after realizing how much of her life she'd missed. At the motel, Sharon awakens in the dark to a knocking coming from the closed bathroom door. She turns on the lamp and sighs that it was just a bad dream. The knocking starts up again. Sharon asks, "Cameron?" The knocking continues. Sharon warns Cameron that she has no problem killing him again. Then she realizes that it's not Cameron knocking. Cameron is in her head. She calls, "Who's there?" She talks to herself and urges herself to run. "You can leave this room and never look back." She opens the door and Daniel is standing there gasping, "Cassie, Cassie," in a disembodied voice. He falls on the Sharon, who catches him and realizes the back of his head is covered in blood. Suddenly, Sharon awakens with a start and looks at the empty bathroom, the door of which is wide open. It was a nightmare. In the park, Faith leaves her mom a voicemail pleading with her to call her when she gets this. It would mean a lot to her to hear her voice. "I love you, Mom." Adam appears and asks Faith if she's okay. At Daniel's apartment, he hands Heather a tea as a peace offering. He's glad she backed off of the idea of moving away. Heather admits she still thinks they should leave and wishes they already had. She's willing to stay and listen to his and Lucy's arguments, but wasn't convinced. Daniel teases that she never liked losing an argument in court or at home. Heather will do whatever it takes to support her family. Daniel appreciates that, but doesn't want her to resent the decision. Heather says they're partners and will compromise. Heather and Daniel agree this is different than Savannah and go over his past situation. Heather assures him he's made it up to her and Lucy, but the loss of both of their jobs was triggering. Daniel's sure he'll get work soon. Heather knows he will. But this whole mess with Sharon, the amount of guilt she piles on you, it's hard for her to watch. Daniel gets it, but something tells him she won't be acting like that anymore. He tells Heather that Sharon apologized to him for how she treated their family. Daniel marvels at the honesty she showed him. "I don't know if I deserve it." He still feels responsible for Cassie's death. Heather says he was a teen and has grown into a good man. She wishes Sharon had apologized to Lucy as well. Daniel thinks it's clear she's still trying to figure out how to deal with her family. Heather doubts she'll trust her around their child again. She's erratic and scary. Daniel doesn't want to discuss Sharon anymore. He just wants to focus on their family. They embrace. At Society, Nick asks Maria to tell him and Tessa about her call with Sharon. Maria goes through the lies she told about going to Madison and the CEO canceling the meetings. They all find this scary. Maria says her mother claimed she was starting to feel like she was being interrogated and didn't care about the business meeting at all. But she was clear-headed enough to know what they were planning. Nick regrets using Faith in a cover story to lure her to an intervention. Maria and Tessa reassure him. Nick says he has more news, but it's not very encouraging. Nick explains that he reached out to Sharon's doctor, who was protective of her privacy as expected. He told him he was concerned he wasn't getting the whole picture. He told him if things get to the point that they think Sharon is a danger to herself or someone else, they need to call the police. Maria asks, "You don't think she'd do something like that, do you?" Maria recalls how Sharon said she couldn't live with all of them watching her every move, but she promised she wasn't considering self-harm. She's sure her mother needs help. Nick's doubtful she'd admit it or turn to her doctor. Her meds clearly aren't working, and she probably feels let down. He wishes he could find her, but she's not answering his calls or texts. Maria says she doesn't want them to know what's going on. At the motel, Sharon asks Cameron, "What are you smiling at?" He's just happy to see her. She asks if he gave her the nightmare. Cameron tells her to get over herself. He is her. So that would mean she gave it to herself. He tells her to stop playing the dumb blonde. She gave herself that dream to talk herself out of doing what has to be done. Sharon says it worked because there is no damn way she's going to do this. She walks over to the dresser and takes out a bottle of pills. She takes on, and Cameron says that's not going to change anything. She's going to have to execute this. Stop screwing around. We both know this is going to happen. Sharon exclaims that Daniel was hurt. He was bleeding in her nightmare. Cameron says, and only you can make your dreams come true. Sharon fumes. I'm not listening to you. You're dead. Cameron tells her she's not, but she's walking around like she is. Sharon rants that she's barely clinging to her sanity. If she does this, she will break. Cameron tells her she's stronger than she thinks she is. Sharon worries she'll never see her children again and won't have a future. Cameron says that's only if she gets caught. He promises she'll come out of this feeling whole. She must finally get justice for Cassie. In the park, Faith tells Adam she's okay. Adam heard about her accident and knows her dad would be concerned to see her like this, especially if it's about her mom. Faith asks him not to tell their dad. Adam says it's up to her who she wants to talk to. He guesses it's not him and turns to leave. He hopes everything with her and Sharon is okay. Believe it or not, I do care about you both. Faith stops him from leaving. Maybe you can help. Faith asks Adam about getting Sharon help when she was first diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Adam asks if she's sick again. Faith tells him that she hasn't been herself. Her accident upset her. But Daniel Romalotti being back in town also reminded her of what happened to Cassie. At the motel, Sharon looks at a white paper bag on the bed and tells Cameron she doesn't remember what that is. He asks if she remembers checking into this dump. She doesn't. Sharon insists she's done playing games with him. Cameron says he's not playing a game. She switched to autopilot to get herself there, so she could get away from her family and get ready. She asks, ready for what? Cameron nods at the bag on the bed and urges her to take a peek and refresh her memory so they can move this along. She says no. Cameron puts his feet up. Fine, I'll wait. Thanks to you, I have the patience of a dead man. Sharon sits on the bed and opens the bag. She pulls out a black bottle. Cameron says, 1 dose of that, and there's no coming back. You are so close, baby, to finally being free of your pain. At Daniel's place, Heather thanks him for being so understanding about yesterday. She regrets being so judgmental. Daniel recaps that he failed her and Lucy the last time. They had no choice but to leave. Heather cries that she never wants to lose him again. Daniel never wants her to be upset again. He's sure they can make Genoa City a wonderful place to live. Heather has a lead on a job and thinks their luck is changing. Daniel says he's meeting his mom in summer later. Heather will join them if the interview goes well. He's glad they kissed and made up. Heather still wants the kiss. Daniel obliges. At Society, Nick tells Maria and Tessa he's left Sharon 5 messages today and won't leave anymore. Maria says she was adamant about wanting space and did not want them to try and track her down. She was making it sound like they were making it worse for her. Nick asks if she thinks her mother knows what she's doing. Mariah replies, maybe. Nick says that's not good enough. He'd rather she be mad at him for the rest of her life. He missed the signs the first time and won't make that mistake again. Holding the bottle in the motel room, Sharon muses that maybe this is how she can end the pain. Cameron says it would kill their kids, who would blame themselves for the rest of their lives. He points out the pain is only half of this. The rest is honoring Cassie. Taking her own life would be cruel and selfish. Sharon argues that what he's pushing her to do is cruel. What about Heather and Lucy and Summer and Phyllis? Cameron laughs. Do you really care about Phyllis? He reminds her she won't know she did it. Sharon says, but I would, and it's wrong. Cameron says the world has been out of balance since Cassie dies and it's up to her to fix that. Cameron tells her she can go back on autopilot and he'll take care of this. Sharon won't let him control her. She protests that Daniel isn't like him. He's not an answer. Cameron asks if she'll really fail Cassie again. Sharon tells him that he's right. She did not protect Cassie that night. She will hate herself for that forever. But she can't do this. Cameron coaxes, yes, you can. Sharon, you can finally make this right by getting justice for Cassie. Now are you going to do this, or aren't you? In the park, Adam thought Sharon had come to terms with her grief about Cassie a long time ago. Fate said she led her down the path to remembering that pain, and now she's stuck in it. Adam says the pain never goes away and reassures Faith that she's not to blame. He learns that Sharon is missing, and they all know she's in trouble. Adam wishes he could help, but he's not sure he can. He assumes her dad is all over that. Faith confirms it. Adam urges her to trust him. If anyone can find Sharon, it's Nick. At Society, Nick spots Daniel coming in. They all walk over and Nick asks him if Sharon gave him any indication how she was planning to deal with her grief about Cassie. Did she mention a trip to clear her head or anything? Daniel frowns. Why? Do you guys not know where Sharon is? Nick confirms she's missing, and she's been pretty unpredictable lately. Daniel doesn't know anything, and says she seemed more concerned about whether or not they would leave town. She mentioned doing whatever necessary to get past this. He's sorry he can't be more help, and asks them to let him know when they hear from her. I'm sure it's just an understanding. Nick hopes he's right about that. At Daniel's apartment, Sharon picks the lock and lets herself in. She hunts around and eventually finds what she's looking for, a bottle of Daniel's whiskey. Cameron muses him about having good taste and notes that, ironically, it was bottled when Cassie was still alive. He tells her, "No reason to hold back now, babe. Let's do what we came to do." Sharon pulls out the black bottle. Next on The Young and Restless, Victor loses patience with Victoria's need to help Billy. Nick seeks counsel to help Sharon. Adam and Chelsea fear their mistakes will hurt Connor, and Mariah catches Sharon in a lie.